get this. You know what's wild? Think back, way back to the 1930s. Someone's getting ready to pop the question, right? Heart's probably pounding, maybe fumbling for a ring.
Yeah, the big moment.
And that ring, chances are, like, overwhelmingly high, it didn't have a diamond. Less than 10% did.
Wow, really? Only 10%?
Seriously. So how on earth did we get from that to now, where, the diamond engagement ring is basically the standard? It's kind of a sparkly puzzle we're going to unpack today.
Absolutely. It feels like this ancient tradition, doesn't it? But it's actually surprisingly recent.
Right.
Forget all these romantic stories stretching back centuries. This deep dive, it's going to show a story that's, well, mostly powered by some really clever, and you gotta admit, effective marketing.
Clever is definitely the word.
Yeah.
We've dug into a bunch of stuff for this. Everything from, like, detailed ad campaign analyses, historical accounts, and even found this really lively debate happening over on Reddit.
Oh, interesting. Reddit always has opinions.
Doesn't it just... So our mission, basically, is to figure out where this whole glittery custom really started and, understand the forces that made it stick so hard in our culture.
And it's something that touches so many people, right? I mean, whether you're wearing a diamond ring now or you know someone who is, maybe you even expect one someday. Understanding the real story behind it, it can be a bit of an eye-opener. Might shift your perspective a little.
Definitely. Okay, so let's set the scene. Before the 1930s, you said diamond rings were rare for engagements. So what were people using then? What was the go-to proposal bling?
It's interesting. Diamonds were valuable, sure, but not the automatic choice. Our sources point out things like opals, rubies, sapphires, even turquoise.
Turquoise, really?
Yeah. They were often seen as more unique, maybe more exotic tokens of love. If you think back to, like, the Victorian era, those really elaborate rings with lots of different colored stones were pretty popular. Diamonds were around, but they hadn't, cornered the market yet.
Okay, so here's where the plot twists. Fast forward to 1938. Entered De Beers, the big diamond mining company.
The major player.
Right, and they hire this ad agency, N.W. Ayer & Son, with this incredibly specific, maybe even audacious goal to, and I quote, create an artificial demand for diamonds.
Wow. They actually said artificial demand.
That's what the sources say. It's like they just looked at the situation and said, people aren't buying enough diamonds for proposals. Okay, let's just change their minds.
Precisely. And you have to understand why they took that route. Because of U.S. antitrust laws, the ones meant to stop monopolies, the Beers couldn't just dictate the retail price of diamonds in the U.S., so they had to get clever. Their strategy shifted to influencing what people wanted, to build up this, intense desire for diamonds that would pull demand from the consumer side.
So N.W. Ayer gets to work, they do their homework, and they find something pretty key, right?
Yeah.
What was the deal with how Americans saw diamonds back then?
Well, their research showed that, yeah, diamonds meant love and status, but mostly just for the really rich folks.
Well, upper class thing.
Exactly. The average person didn't automatically think engagement diamond ring. Ayer's genius was seeing that gap and cooking up a plan to make the diamond ring essential for, well, everyone, all social classes.
Which brings us neatly to 1947. And the launch of, it has to be one of the most successful ad slogans ever, right? A diamond is forever.
Oh, absolutely. Just brilliant. Pure genius, really. It works on two levels.
How so?
Well, first, there's the literal meaning. A diamond is hard, durable, it lasts.
Right. Physically tough.
But the real power was linking that physical fact to the idea of permanent love, of marriage lasting forever. The message, subtle but strong, was, if your love is forever, your symbol for it should be too. Implying,
A diamond that's forever is never given up.
You got it. It's never resold.
Wow. They basically spun this whole narrative around this little piece of compressed carbon. If your love is eternal, the symbol has to be eternal too. And just like that, boom. The diamond stops being just a pretty rock and becomes, essential, a required part of getting engaged.
Exactly right. They weren't just selling a product. They were selling an idea, an ideal. They embedded this story so deep into the culture, it started to feel like it had always been true.
And did it work? The numbers must show it.
Oh, absolutely. The results were staggering. Our sources talk about this huge jump in diamond engagement rings in the U.S. from that tiny 10% in the 1940s up to around 80% by 1990.
80%? That's incredible market penetration.
It really is. And they didn't stop there. They exported the idea, took it to markets like Japan, and apparently had similar success over there, too.
Unbelievable. But wait, they didn't just get people buying them right.
Sure.
They also started messing with how much people thought they should spend, the whole salary rule.
Ah, yes, the salary rule. De Beers basically invented that and pushed it hard.
Invented it.
Yeah. Initially, the suggestion was, okay, spend about 1 month's salary on the ring.
Seems sort of reasonable, maybe.
Ish. But then over time, especially in richer places like the US, they kind of nudged that up to 2 months' salary.
Too much.
And get this, in Japan, some sources say they even pushed for 3 months.
3 months pay. That's putting a serious price tag on love, isn't it?
It really is. It quantified commitment in dollars and cents, and it definitely created this social pressure, especially on guys, spend big or look cheap.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to look like you weren't committed enough financially. Did people really start thinking their love was worth X amount of dollars?
Well, the marketing framed it perfectly. They used this rhetorical question alongside the rule. How else could 2 months' salary last forever?
Ooh, that's good.
Isn't it? It flips the script.
Yeah.
Suddenly, this massive expense isn't a burden. It's an investment, a lasting investment in the eternal love the diamond supposedly represents. Just masterful persuasion.
Okay, but let's pull back the velvet curtain for a second.
Yeah.
Behind all the sparkle of the forever love talk,
Yeah.
what about the actual rarity? Are diamonds really that scarce?
Yeah, that's the less romantic part. Our sources are pretty clear. Diamonds are not actually that rare.
Really? But they cost so much.
Well, De Beers maintained those high prices using a classic cartel strategy. They controlled the supply of rough diamonds coming out of the mines, managed distribution tightly.
Limiting supply, artificial scarcity.
Exactly. Create scarcity, combine it with that powerful emotional marketing about forever, and bingo, you justify the high price and perception of value.
And that "a diamond is forever" slogan. It wasn't just about getting people to buy, was it? It sounds like it was also tied into keeping that supply controlled.
Very much so. Think about it. If a diamond is forever, you don't sell it.
Right, you keep it.
Which means no big secondary market popping up, potentially flooding the market and driving down prices for new diamonds. It was a brilliant way to protect their control.
So the slogan itself discouraged resale.
Absolutely. It carried that powerful unspoken message. These are permanent symbols, family heirlooms. You just don't sell them. Later campaigns even pushed that idea more directly, making it seem kind of undesirable. Maybe even bad luck for the relationship if you sold the ring.
Like, who wants to start their marriage with a ring from someone else's failed romance? I could see how that would stick.
Precisely. So they hammered home the emotional value, the symbolic meaning, and just conveniently sidestepped any talk about, the actual resale value, which is often quite low.
It's almost paradoxical, isn't it? The fact that it doesn't hold its monetary value well on resale was spun as proof of its permanent sentimental value.
It's quite the marketing jujitsu. And this whole thing, it wasn't just magazine ads and slogans. Our sources call it cultural penetration, almost like social engineering.
Social engineering, that sounds intense.
Well, they saturated the culture. They used movie stars, socialites, aspirational figures. Think Marilyn Monroe singing "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend."
Yeah. And gentlemen prefer blondes. That's basically early influencer marketing, right?
Totally. Embedding that desire right into pop culture. You wonder if sales spiked after that movie.
I bet they did.
And it went deeper. De Beers actually sponsored lectures in schools, had a traveling diamond lecturer.
Wait, in schools? Seriously?
Yep. Planting the seed early, you could say. Our sources suggest the whole campaign used techniques a bit like classic propaganda, linking diamond qualities to relationship ideals, playing on emotions, social desires.
So just constant, pervasive messaging, hammering that diamond is forever idea until it seeped into everyone's subconscious, generation after generation.
Pretty much. And the wild part is, eventually, the public itself started enforcing the norm, treating it like some ancient custom that had always existed.
Wow. It just became expected.
Oh.
A self-perpetuating thing. Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. We mentioned looking at a Reddit thread. What's the vibe there? More recently, are people still buying the forever story?
Well, the Reddit discussion definitely brings a more critical eye to it.
I can imagine.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about diamonds not having much inherent value, that the whole tradition is just marketing hype. You see tons of discussion about lab-grown diamonds.
The alternatives.
Exactly, as a much cheaper option. And there's definitely some frustration bubbling up about the pressure, the obligation to spend a fortune on a ring. It does make you wonder if younger generations are maybe seeing through the sparkle a bit more.
Are they pushing back on the tradition?
It seems like there's more questioning, for sure. And what's really interesting, though it wasn't the main focus of the thread, one title mentioned De Beers themselves slashing prices on their own lab-grown diamonds.
Oh, really? De Beers is selling lab-grown now, too, and cutting prices.
Apparently so. Which, could be seen as them reacting to these changing attitudes, to the competition from lab-grown alternatives. Maybe the forever narrative is facing a new kind of challenge. Is the magic wearing off?
It sounds like the carefully built story might be hitting some turbulence. But even with all the criticism and these new options popping up, you can't deny the campaign's legacy.
Oh, absolutely not. It's undeniable. Even today, most engagement rings in the U.S. still feature diamonds. What is it, over 3/4?
Yeah, something like that.
It just stands as this landmark example of how powerful marketing can be. Not just selling stuff, but actually shaping culture, shaping norms.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. To recap this glittering deep dive, the diamond engagement ring feels ancient, totally isn't. It's mostly a product of this incredibly smart, maybe ethically questionable, but undeniably successful De Beers marketing campaign.
They didn't just sell rocks, they sold an idea forever.
Yeah.
Embedded it so deep it became a cultural fixture affecting how we spend, how we think about love and commitment.
Which leads us to a final thought for you listening. Now that you know the story behind the diamond ring, does it change how you see it? Does knowing its marketing roots diminish the romance? Or maybe does it just highlight how powerful stories are in shaping even our most personal rituals?
It really makes you think, doesn't it, about other traditions we just accept.
Totally. Maybe dig a bit deeper yourself. Look into advertising history, the ethics around it, how marriage customs change.
Yeah.
And definitely check out the whole lab-grown diamond situation that's reshaping things right now.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's just a fascinating look at how a really well-told story, even when cooked up in a boardroom, can last, maybe not forever, but for a very, very long time. Thanks for joining us for this one.